Get up, put on the full armor of God. We're getting ready to go into battle. Yeah. Getting ready to go into battle in November. As I've been talking quite a bit about alcohol, it is on the ballot. Will be on the ballot for Providence of Seabury to allow, whether or not to allow alcohol sales. And also just heard that Dawson Springs is having a vote on their ballot to allow Sunday sales. I just found that out this morning. All three of those places that needs to be defeated. And we need to put on the full armor of God and go forth to battle. Our time of preparation is over. Now is the time to get out and rally everybody else and go forth and defeat this enemy. We cannot just sit back and say, we'll just wait. People go and vote, and we're not going to worry about it. Too many of these votes that have been taking place have been lost by 3, 4, or more votes because people did not get out and go vote. This particular type of vote is a simple majority. In other words, if one person more on the no side then has voted than what has on the yes side, the measure is defeated. There's no electoral college that comes into play. There's no fancy polling or anything like that. It's a straight up yes or no. And we need to encourage people to vote no. And as watchmen of Webster County, we need to get out and sound the alarm and let people know this is coming. It is an important battle. We need to defeat these measures. If we don't, and if I don't, I'm just as guilty or even more guilty as the watchmen are that are found in Isaiah chapter 56 verses 10 through 12. And that's where the scripture's taken from today. Isaiah 56 verses 10 through 12. Now, as most of us know, Isaiah is a book of prophecy and history. And in this particular thing, he is admonishing Israel. Isaiah is admonishing Israel. And he's, as we read, and I'm reading out of the Geneva Bible, their watchmen are all blind. They have no knowledge. They are all dumb dogs. They cannot bark. They lie and sleep and delight in sleeping. And these greedy dogs can never have enough. And these shepherds cannot understand, for all they look to their own way, and everyone for his advantage and for his own purpose. Now, watchmen would be up on the wall. They're supposed to be keeping watch, just like a shepherd keeps watch out in the field. And the shepherd usually had a dog with him, that at night, the dogs, even though they'd be laying down, and as those of you that have dogs know, something moves, they get up and go to barking. especially if it's something that's not supposed to be there. However, history has shown that in Jerusalem, watchmen did not always sound the alarm. In J. Vernon McGee's, one of the books I looked at, is through the Bible series, the commentary he writes, that he has on this verse. He writes, and I quote, "If ye have ever seen a picture of the walls of Jerusalem and the Wailing Wall, ye can see that they are built of stones from different periods of civilizations. It is quite evident that the city has been destroyed repeatedly. History tells us that Jerusalem has been destroyed at least 27 times." End quote. Going on. "And today it is built upon that debris." End quote. Yes, Jerusalem has been destroyed at least 27 times that we know of. And they've always rebuilt it. He also makes a statement in there that if we wanted to get to where Jesus, what it looked like when Jesus was walking, you have to dig down 30 to 50 feet. Dig down that deep from the surface of today to see what it looked like in Jesus' time. However, why was the city of Jerusalem destroyed? What happened? It is because God had allowed nations to attack it, attack Israel and the city of Jerusalem, because they failed God. They failed to do what God had asked them to do, which is all throughout the first 5 books of the Bible, with all the laws and following God and everything. They failed to sound the alarms. The watchmen failed to sound the alarms. And that's what these 2 verses are talking about. The watchmen may or may not have seen the enemies coming, but they didn't worry about it. In verse 11, it tells us why they failed to sound the alarm. They were satisfied and content and depended on the security that the wall was providing for. They felt that the wall gave them security. They didn't trust in God enough to believe that He is the one providing security for them. Instead of staying awake, keeping the city safe, they either slept or possibly played mummy peg. And I'm kind of just going on things here. Possibly played mummy peg, shot marbles, maybe even played poker. And at the end of the watch, they'd be getting ready to go home. They'd be happy they had got off watch, got done with their job for the day, and they were happy because they weren't attacked while they had the watch. And so they'd be, "Hey, let's go get some wine. Let us drink our fill of beer, and we'll come back tomorrow. We'll celebrate the good time we had today, come back tomorrow, do it all over again. And we'll even get rich and get richer for sitting around doing nothing. And we'll go out and get drunk again tomorrow." Now that, again, I'm paraphrasing quite a bit. I don't know if they said things like that or not, but the point I'm trying to make, they were more concerned about going out and drinking and possibly winning at poker or doing some other job where they made more money and getting rich than they were keeping the city safe. and keeping Jerusalem and Israel safe. And with me as shepherd, watchman of Corinth Church, I would be just as guilty as I said earlier, or even more guilty, because I know it's coming, if I did not sound the alarm. And that's what I'm doing today, is sounding the alarm. We have a battle coming. It's time to put on the full armor of God. Dress rehearsal is over. It's time to put the rubber to the road and get out and battle and fight the evil of alcohol and everything we know that comes with it. And because if I did not sound the alarm, and Providence and Sebree went wet, with me knowing what's going to happen, I would not be able to stand before God and claim that I served Him. But if I sound the alarm and get the word out, and we do battle, even if we do lose, we still have the ability to hold our heads high and say, we fought the fight. And that's what we need to do. Now, and even though just about every one of us don't live in the city of Providence, and it's within the city limits, because that's what the ballot is written for, within the city limits of the Providence and Sebree. We do have friends and family that live there, and we do need to get out and encourage people to get registered to vote. They should always be registered to vote. It doesn't matter if alcohol is on the ballot or not. It's a right that has been granted to us through the U.S. Constitution. Every one of us, when we reach a certain age, we have the right to go vote and express our opinion through the voting process. But on this particular measure, on alcohol, we do need to stress and encourage people to vote no. Because we've all seen the family problems, the heartaches, and destruction of life and properties that is caused by alcohol and can be caused by alcohol. And no amount of money that comes in from the sale of alcohol can ever replace the loss of a life. And I trust that every one of you here today wants to be able to stand before God and say, I fought the fight, instead of saying, I just thought everybody would be okay with it. We didn't need to sound the alarm. But stand up and say, yes, I fought that fight. I fought that battle. Yeah, we lost, but I did the best I could. And one thing we need to remember, the biggest thing, we need to organize. And Dad and I are working with going to try to work with some people in Providence to get an organization going within Providence. And hopefully over in Sebree too, to battle this. Because if we don't, it's going to pass. But the most important thing we need to remember, even after we're organized, is we depend on God. We pray and ask God for His protection, His guidance, His leading, and allow Him to fight the battle, as the Israelites did when they were coming into the Promised Land. There's all throughout Leviticus and Deuteronomy and Joshua there's example after example of where they went into a battle without seeking God's leading and help, and they failed miserably. They lost the battle. But there's even more example after example of when they allowed God to lead them and do exactly what God said, they barely had to lift a finger to fight the battle. They just showed up and it was won. And that's what we need to do. We need to depend on God, but we also need to get out and show up for the battle. And so, I know today's been this is a short sermon, but the alarm has been sounded, and this alarm will stay sounded until the battle is over. I'll keep on talking about it, preaching on it. And when I speak to people around town, around the county, I will speak out against alcohol. And I hope that we all do the same thing. Because once it hits Providence and Sebring, then I don't know when, but it would be the Dixon, Slaughters, Liberty, Clay, all these other towns would go wet. And eventually, it would be a vote for the county to go wet. And might wind up even with Dawson, as Dawson is selling alcohol on Sundays. Unless we stop it today, stop it this year, in November, at the ballot. So as we get ready to sing, "Have Thine Own Way, Lord," let's remember we need to depend on God. And if anybody wants to come forward and join the church and join our fellowship here, I'll be down front waiting to receive you as we get ready to sing our invitation.
Number 349. Number 349, let's stand.